This is Desert Homestead Prepping. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit that bell for notifications.
All right, so another side project that we got going on is this door. Let me show you what I got Gabe doing here. Like I said before, we were going to revisit this door, come up with something a little more permanent, a little more professional. So we came up with a plan. Gabe is cutting all the pieces that he needs over here, and he's been making measurements, and he's got these markings you can kind of see right here where he's kind of mapped out where he's going to put these. So these, we're going to actually glue them to the wall with liquid nails, glue them to the door, and they're wide enough to where they're going to stick up above these bars, the locking bars. And then after he gets those all glued down, we're going to use some plywood and put the plywood right over the top of those and actually screw them down or nail them to the wood that's glued to the door. And so we'll have slits that open up, you know, right along here so that we can still get to the locking mechanism. So we'll show you more detail as he gets farther along with cutting all his pieces. All right, Gabe's got all these pieces cut and ready to go. So we got ourselves the liquid nails. I don't have a lot. I wish I had more. So we're gonna try to make do with what we have. If we run out of liquid nails, we do have silicone, which works pretty good as an adhesive. If you remember, that's what I used on these corner pieces. These are held in place by silicone, so silicone will work really good. So he's got it all figured out. He's got numbers for each piece of wood. Each piece of wood is numbered to exactly where it's going to go. So we're going to team up on this and start sticking them in place. Looks like crap, doesn't it? But this is what we had to do to hold each piece in place while the adhesive dries. So we just kind of have the tape there just holding it in place because they just want to keep sliding off of the door. So we'll just let this sit here all night and it should cure up and dry. It should cure and dry nice and solid, and then I don't know, we might have to do a little touch-up work to kind of straighten out a few pieces, but this is going to just be the support right here. This is just the outer edges where we're going to attach the plywood to. We'll let this sit here and dry for a good 24 hours, and then we'll come back to it. So we are ready to put the plywood onto these, I guess you would say, studs that we've glued onto the door. We've given the glue a couple days to set up, so it should be plenty dry for us to go ahead and attach the plywood. So this is the magic that's going to make this work the way that we need it to. I think it's going to look pretty decent, but either way, it's going to be permanent, and we should be able to come back and kind of, you know, maybe fill in some of the open holes so that no critters go back in there, and paint it so that it looks really good. So we got our pieces cut and ready. So Gabe's gonna hold them in place while I just screw them down real quick. There we go. That looks pretty good.
Yeah.
So, what do you think? We think it looks wonderful, much better. And I think it's going to be a lot better than this old trampoline mat flapping in the wind. So, we'll be able to take that mat down, and it's going to be really good to use as a tarp for the snowmobiles, because our tarps are trashed. So it'll be good to get that down. So if you look, you can see the latching mechanism is still exposed. So the majority of the door is covered, so that now all the heat is going to be absorbed onto this before it hits the door. And so you can still get the latches open, and you can get your door open, everything still works. Latch it all back in there. So good to go. Still all functional, but much nicer to look at, much more appealing to the eye, and it's gonna work good for insulating and keeping this much cooler in the summer and much warmer in the winter as well. So let me give you kind of a close-up. So now you can understand why we set everything up the way that we did. So it's really good in this center spot where it's completely sealed, except for there are some open gaps. So we're gonna have to come back in later, and we'll just get some pieces of wood that are measured to the size that we need, and we'll just glue them in there. Same thing over here. We'll just kind of glue this in with some chunks of wood, and then we'll try to fill this in with foam. I don't think it's going to ever be totally perfect, but we should be able to at least keep wasps and, I don't know, birds from climbing in there, making nests. So yeah, that's pretty good. We're pretty excited to finally have a permanent fix for this door. This was mostly Gabe's project here, so it's really nice to be to a point where I can tell Gabe, hey, this is what I need, go and do it. So he measured all the pieces of wood and everything for exactly where he needed it, cut them all. Of course, it was a team effort to glue them in place. It took me and him and a lot of duct tape to be able to glue those suckers down. But it was definitely worth it. We're very, very happy with how this turned out. All right, well, we're off to the next project. Okay guys, this is the contraption that I've built. I am so sick of replacing batteries, so I've decided to buy a battery tender, but I have so many batteries from the trailers and everything, and all the four-wheelers and the tractor. So I've just brought them all here, and I have wired them all together so that they are all hooked together to one battery tender. And I've double checked all the voltage, and all the voltage is even. So take a look at what I got here. So I know that this is not proper and that you have different size batteries and everything, but it's better than these being dead next spring, because, I mean, for reals, I will come back and these will all be dead. So, you know, I've just taken some speaker wire. I mean, this trickle charger, it's not a trickle charger. This battery tender is not going to put much voltage. And with these all just hooked up in parallel, they're going to be just fine. So who knows if that's going to shorten the life, but either way, letting them just sit here in the cold without having to charge all winter is not going to be good for them either. So that's how we're going to leave it for the winter. Well, that wraps it up for this video. Let me know what you guys think. You like the idea for covering the doors? What do you think about my wiring setup for the batteries? Alright, thanks for joining us. Make sure you tune back in for the next video where we finish up the outdoor kitchen. We wish you guys all the best. God bless.